Okay, so let's get started. So we'll try and read the sloka and then we'll start with prayers. Okay.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna, then Krishna. Okay, so this is from Bhagavad Gita 6.26. Yato yato nischalati manaschanchalamasstiram tatastato niyamyaitad atmani eva vasham nayet. Meaning, yata yataha, wherever, nischalati becomes verily agitated. Manaha, the mind. Chanchalam, flickering. Astiram, unsteady. Tataha, tataha, from there. Niyamya, regulating. Etat, this. Atmani, in the self. Eva, certainly. Vasam, control. Nayet, must bring under. Translation. From wherever the mind wanders, due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Okay? Purport. The nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady. But a self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. One who controls the mind, and therefore the senses as well, is called a Goswami. Go means senses, Swami means controller. Or one who is controlled by the mind is called Godasa. Go means senses, Dasa means servant. So Goswami means controller of the senses, Godasa means servant of the senses. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in service of Hrishikesha. Hrishikesha refers to the Supreme Lord, who is the owner of all the senses, the different parts of the body that we possess. The senses are engaged in service of Hrishikesha, or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna consciousness. That is the way of bringing the sense under full control. What is more, that is the highest perfection of yoga practice. Okay? So now you see, yoga means connecting with the Supreme. But connecting with the Supreme cannot happen unless one comes to the platform of sense control. If one does not come to the platform of sense control, the yoga cannot manifest. The yoga as a connection to Supreme Lord cannot happen. You may be chanting, you may be book reading, you may be doing so many services, but connection with the Supreme does not happen. So, sense control is very important. Okay? Can we have 3 people reciting this sloka? This is Bhagavad Gita 6.26.
Hare Krishna, Bhagavad Gita 6.26. Yato yato nischalati manas chanchalamasstiram tato niyam etad atmani eva vasham nayet. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhagavad Gita 6.26. Eto yato nischalati manas chanchalam astiram tatastato niyamaitad atmani eva vasham nayet. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Bhagavad Gita 6.26. Yato yato nischalati manas chanchalam astiram tato niyamai tad atmani eva vasam nayet. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay. So this is a sloka for the day. Please practice, mug up the sloka and remember the meaning behind the sloka. Okay. Okay, so now let's go to yeah. You're all able to see this page?
Yes,
Prabhu.
Okay. So we'll do a small exercise before we start with the class. Where's the page? Yeah. Okay, so now we will do a short exercise. This answers must be based on what you have learned so far, not on other things from Srimad Bhagavatham, Canto 1 up till date, or anything up till in Canto 1. Okay, so that also I'll write. Oops. So now you have to say personality. Who's the personality? Then what circumstances? And lessons learned. Okay, from this exercise of tolerance. So these are 3 points that we have to answer. So we'll say one like that answer. Okay. So who wants to go first? You have to lift your hand.
Yes, Prabhu.
On the screen. On the screen. Raise your hand on the screen. Yeah. So who wants to go? You can just raise your hand and say your number, and you can start to answer. Okay, yes, Mataji.
The personality is Parikshit Maharaj, Prabhu. What
Okay.
circumstances is when Shringi cursed him, he did not do this thing. And then he learned that it is his mistake that he, in haste, he put the dead snake over the Muni.
So did he exhibit tolerance?
Yes, Prabhu. He did not curse him back.
Okay. Okay. So the lesson learned is he did not curse him back, he tolerated. Okay. But the first part he didn't tolerate. Right? One small incident that he didn't respect him, he showed intolerance. Okay. So both has to be understood. Okay, anyone else? Anyone in Canto 1, yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, all the Pandavas Prabhu.
No, you should tell one specific person. What circumstances?
Okay, Yudhishthira Maharaj Prabhu. He went through so many atrocities by the Kauravas, but he did not retaliate back, Prabhu. He showed tolerance to them.
Sorry, Mataji, repeat.
Prabhu, Yudhishthira Maharaj, he went through so many atrocities by the Kauravas, but he did not.
But in Canto 1, where does it apply? In Canto 1, we have not come to that.
Okay, Prabhu, when Ashwatthama was bound and brought in front of him, he did not advise him, he did not advise Arjuna to kill him, Prabhu.
No, but in that case, the key character was not Yudhishthira. Draupadi. So Draupadi showed tolerance.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, Draupadi shows tolerance. Okay, great. Others?
Prabhu Haridas Thakur Prabhu.
No. Canto 1.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Balaji Prabhu.
Bhishma Prabhu.
Prabhu, Kunti Maharani Prabhu.
Kunti Maharani, okay. Where? Under what circumstances?
Yeah, Kunti Maharani, basically, she had to go so many tribulations and tests also, because during the young age of the Pandavas, she had to go through so many difficulties because the Kauravas were actually trying to kill them. And the Wax Palace is an example. And then the Bhima was also an example there. Then she exhibited tolerance and had complete faith in the Lord, Prabhu. So that's how she was able to overcome all the difficulties that she faced, Prabhu.
Yeah, good. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Uttara Mataji.
Uttara, so what circumstances?
The Brahmastra was focused on her, but she surrendered completely to Krishna, and she bowed down to him and asked his mercy.
Okay, accepted. Yeah.
Bhishma Dev.
Any new? Okay. So we'll give for importance to new devotees. Any new devotees who wants to answer this? The regular devotees always answer very well. The non-regular devotees or the new devotees, if they take up turns, it will be nice. We can know that you are learning.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
We can include Vidura, no?
No, Canto 1 Vidra is not yet come, no?
Oh.
So far, what we've learned.
For tolerance, I thought.
Yeah, tolerance may be true, but we've not covered that subject yet in this.
Okay, Prabhu.
Yes, there's someone, we have a guest called Karthik who's lifted his hand. Okay, no one else?
Yes, Prabhu. Shall I, Prabhu?
Okay, you go ahead, Prabhu.
Prabhu, Bhishma Dev, Prabhu.
Bhishma Dev, what is the circumstances?
Prabhu, though he was in Kaurava's wing, he tolerated everything and he had patience, though he had though he was able to leave his body any time, he tolerated till the last moment when the Lord appeared in front of him along with Pandavas and others in four-handed form.
But how is that tolerance? That's not tolerance.
But he waited, no, Prabhu, till
Waited is not tolerance, no. See, what is tolerance? See, look at the examples. Look at Draupadi's example. When Ashwatthama killed all her son, she could have easily cursed back. She did not. She did not kill him also. She spared his life. So you should be very specific to an incident. In the last, this thing, he is ready to die. He's just about to leave his body, just waiting for his Uttarayanam, that's all.
he tolerated on the bed of arrows, no, Prabhu. It was very difficult. In spite of all that, he stayed for so many days till the war was over.
It's okay, but not really tolerance, bro. Any other better examples? What about Vyasdev? Has anyone thought through Vyasdev?
When Vyasadeva wrote everything, he was not happy finally because there the Lord was not included. And when Narada helped him with it, he was tolerant enough, no, Prabhu?
Yeah, okay. So that was.
I actually selected Narada when he was an young boy. He had to go through so many turbulations and he lost his mother also. So, but finally, the Lord could elevate him and then he became a Avaduta, Prabhu.
Yeah. So here is my humble request. Take only one answer. Give chance for others. If you tell 2, 3, then you're depriving chance for other Vaishnavas. You may be knowing the subject, but give chance for others. So both are correct. And good. Okay, so can we write examples of personalities who did not demonstrate tolerance?
Same Parikshit Maharaj.
No, your turn is over, Mataji.
Oh, for intolerance, Prabhu, turn.
Still your turn is over. Others who did not take a turn. I want more participation.
Duryodhana, Prabhu.
Okay, Duryodhana, how did he demonstrate intolerance? Where?
So in every situation, like he wanted to beat the Kauravas, and he did all intolerance things like wax palace, and he always wanted to punish them, and he don't want to give the justice to them.
Okay.
Duryodhana, does he come in Canto 1, Prabhu?
He comes in Canto 1. He comes in Canto 1. Canto 1, you will see in the next subsequent chapters, you will see Duryodhana. Okay? Accepted. Anyone else intolerance? Go to, see, you're all making generic statements. Duryodhana generically intolerant. But I want a specific incident and specifically where intolerance was exhibited. That is when you will learn. If you make generic, you can't learn.
Drona Prabhu.
Dronacharya.
Yes, Prabhu.
Where?
Like
which situation?
Drupada insulted him, like when he says that he was his friend, that time when he insulted, then he wants, then he could not tolerate, and he thinks that he has to take revenge on him, and then through Arjuna, he will fulfill this one.
His friend. So his friend Okay.
Drupta.
Dronacharya. Okay. Any other examples? Quick. One last example you can take.
Ashwatthama, Prabhu.
Okay. What did he do?
He fired Brahmastra to kill Parikshit Maharaj when he was in the womb of Uttara. Because his friend was wounded and because he wanted to kill the last Pandava, he did that. Even when Krishna requested to take back, he didn't agree. So,
Okay. Good example. Okay. Ashwatthama. Ashwati. Okay. I'm not getting spelling. Okay. So Ashwatthama, yes, he did demonstrate intolerance. I felt even Shringi demonstrated intolerance. You know who's Shringi?
Yes, Prabhu.
The Brahmana boy.
Shamika's son.
Shamika Rishi's son. So what intolerance he demonstrated?
Immediately cursed Parikshit Maharaj.
Yeah. Without analyzing whether it's correct or wrong, he cursed him and made a mistake. Right? So like that you can see personalities demonstrating tolerance, personalities demonstrating intolerance. Now what
Arjuna, Prabhu,
Arjuna, why he never did intolerance?
when their sons are killed, he became more ferocious to kill Ashwatthama.
No, that was not intolerance. That was
momentous Gobar.
Huh?
Momentous angry.
No, that anger is different from tolerance.
Okay.
Anger is different from tolerance. What is anger? Anger is wrath. You know, trying to punish or correct an action in a particular situation. That's anger. Tolerance means going through a certain difficulty, but still not acting, but acting for a bigger futuristic outcome. That is tolerance. So that I won't call it as tolerance. That I would call it as anger.
Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
Because the role of a Kshatriya is to award punishment and recognition in the right manner. So he acted on that manner. Yes. Okay. So we'll give you
Parikshit Maharaj number 5, Prabhu. Nobody told. He put the dead skin over the Shamika Muni.
Yeah. So that one.
He's tolerant and intolerant also.
So when he entered the ashram, he is looking himself as a king. A king means someone has to respect him, someone has to receive him, someone has to give him an asana, someone has to, inquire him. Like that is important because he is head of the subject, which is fair. Expectation is fair. But Shamika Rishi was deep meditation. He didn't care whether the king came or not because he was focused on the yoga process that he was dedicated himself on. So Maharaj could have understood very carefully. He could have acted in that manner. Okay, but he was intolerant that he immediately put a dead skin on. That changed the entire life of Parikshit Maharaj. Okay, good. So we'll do exercises like this in the starting of the class. That way we will get closer and closer to the various scenes and understanding. Okay. So let's get started with the share. Where is this? Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadadi Swapadandikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sakagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sakagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Desatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so in the last class we learned about the different instructions and the consciousness of Bhishma Dev while departing his body. Now, while departing, Bhishma Dev is now thinking the form of the Lord, and he is also glorifying that form of the Lord. Okay, so that's the key aspect in this sloka. So we will read 9.33. Tribhuvana Kamanam Tamalavarnam Ravikara Gauravara Ambaram Dadani Vapuralaka Kulavritana Vajam Vitana Abjam Vijaya Shake Ratirastume Anvadya. Translation. Sri Krishna is the intimate friend of Arjuna. He has appeared on this earth in his transcendental body, which resembles the bluish color of a tamala tree. His body attracts in the three planetary system, the upper, middle, and lower. May his glittering yellow dress and his lotus face, covered with paintings of sandalwood pulp, be the object of my attraction, and may I not desire fruitive result. Right? So like that, he is glorifying that Supreme Lord Krishna. Okay, can someone read the purport, the full purport?
Hare Krishna. Purport Prabhu. When Sri Krishna, by his own internal pleasure, appears on the earth, he does so by the agency of his internal potency. The attractive features of his transcendental body are desired in all the three worlds, namely the upper, middle, and the lower planetary systems. Nowhere in the universe are there such beautiful bodily features as those of Lord Krishna. Therefore, his transcendental body has nothing to do with anything materially created. Arjuna is, should I pass?
Continue.
Arjuna is described here as the conqueror, and Krishna is described as his intimate friend. Bhishma Deva, on his bed of arrows after the battle of Kurukshetra, is remembering the particular dress of Lord Krishna, which he put on the driver of Arjuna's chariot. While fighting was going on between Arjuna and Bhishma, Bhishma's attraction was drawn by the glittering dress of Krishna, and indirectly he admired his so-called enemy Arjuna for possessing the Lord as his friend. Arjuna was always a conqueror because the Lord was his friend. Bhishma Deva takes this opportunity to address the Lord as Vijaya Sakhe, that is, friend of Arjuna, because the Lord is pleased when he is addressed co-jointly with his devotees, who are related with him in different transcendental humors. While Krishna was the charity of Arjuna, sun rays glittered on the dress of the Lord, and the beautiful hue created by the reflection of such rays was never forgotten by Bhishma Deva. As a great fighter, he was relishing the relation of Krishna in the chivalrous humor. Transcendental relation with the Lord in any one of the different rasas, humors, is relishable by the respective devotees in the highest ecstasy. Less intelligent mundaners who want to make a show of being transcendentally related with the Lord artificially jump at once to the relation of conjugal love, imitating the damsels of Rajadhama. Such a cheap relation with the Lord exhibits only the base mentality of the mundaner, because one who has relished conjugal humor with the Lord cannot be attached to worldly conjugal rasa, which is condemned even by mundane ethics. The eternal relation of a particular soul with the Lord is a what? A genuine relation of the living being with the Supreme Lord can take any form out of the five principal rasas, and it does not make any difference in transcendental degrees to genuine devotees. Bhishmadeva is a concrete example of this, and it should be carefully observed how the great general is transcendentally related with the Lord. Thank you.
Very, very. So look at this wonderful aspect. Now, Lord demonstrated rasas. Rasas here refers to relationships with different personalities, right? Now, there are 5 primary rasas, we are aware of that. But out of the primary, the Dasya Bhava, the Sakya Bhava, the Vatsalya Bhava, and Madhurya Bhava. These 4 are what is nourished by the devotees, because they involve themselves in active relationship with the Lord. The Shantaras is something that is not preferred by devotees, because Shantaras is all about neutralities, and there is no service attitude. Okay? So one who develops service attitude for the pleasure of the Lord will fall into any of these categories: Dasya, Saka, Vatsalya, and Madhurya. Okay, now look at the fact here. Krishna is denoted, or he is called as friend of Arjuna, rather than just calling Krishna. When Krishna is referred to his devotee, who are great personalities and who have dedicated their lives in this aspect of spiritual life, Krishna loves to be associated with such devotees. So when you refer Krishna as friend of Arjuna, Krishna is more pleased than you just call him just Krishna, right? Now, look at this. While fighting was going on between Arjuna and Bhishma, Bhishma's dress was drawn by the glittering dress of Krishna. He did not just fight and, did not care to see the details. He was very detailed. He saw every aspect of the dress of the Lord. Okay? And he felt, oh, this Arjuna is so lucky because my Lord, who's beautiful in all these aspects, Arjuna has possessed him in the war. So in the war, many beautiful things happen. One of this is this exchanges of chivalrous rasa between Bhishma and Krishna. Right? Now, in the rasas that we talked about, the Dasya, Saka, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, there's no chivalry. But chivalry comes in the secondary rasas that one can exhibit. And what Prabhupada concludes that, whether it's primary or secondary, one can develop their own relationship with the Lord. And accordingly, the Lord will benedict them. Right? So if you really look at it, from a devotee's point of view, whether he is demonstrating Dasya ras or chivalrous Virya ras, he will get full satisfaction according to what his desire is. And that is most important. Right? That's what is being told here. Transcendental relation with the Lord in any one of the different rasas is relishable with respect to devotee in the highest ecstasy. It does not mean only the gopis would demonstrate, experience highest ecstasy. Even Bhishma Dev, in the mood of chivalry, he saw great ecstasy in exchange of the rasa. Okay? This highlight is very, very important. A genuine relation of the living being with the Supreme can take in any form out of the 5 principal rasas. Now, how that manifests? It manifests naturally. We don't force that rasa out of it. And because devotees don't see any differences between, because their only goal is to serve the Lord will manifest that relationship with the devotee according to one's bhava and one's willingness to serve the Lord in particular manner. That is called, pure devotional service. Okay, so Bhishma Dev is a classical example to demonstrate this kind of relationship. Now, what's a relationship demonstrated? That's what is demonstrated in the next sloka. Okay, we'll read the next sloka now. 934.
Prabhu, can you just throw light on that? Second point, we can relate to the 5 rasas. It does not make any difference in transcendental degree to general.
So, you see, the general problem with, Jivatmas are, I am not interested in Dasya Ras. I want to only experience Madhya Ras because they want always the highest. They want the best. Okay. Now, what the Lord is trying to tell is, it is not that if you exchange Dasya Ras or Virya Ras with me, your ecstasy will be limited and lower. Okay? You will experience the transcendence to the fullest degree. And in fact, if that is what you like, and that's what you should do, for you, there should not be any difference because you're positioned like that. That's what Lord is trying to do. Otherwise, what people start to do, the living entities, they would start to differentiate between these exchanges and would call something lower and some would call something higher, and then they would go into that thought process. So Lord says, no. However you connect with me, whatever way you want to connect with me, you will experience complete transcendence in whatever you're dealing with. That's the whole point.
Yes.
So other than these 5 rasas, Bhishma Deva is related only in chivalry.
Yes, the Viryas. In the secondary, 7 rasas.
Okay.
Okay.
But,
And if you read the Krishna book, Krishna demonstrates so many examples of the other 7 rasas with various kinds of devotees in various time, place, circumstances. Okay. Now, let's take an example. Parakya and Swakya. Okay. So, what it is Parakya? Parakya means love and separation of the Lord. Okay. Swakya means love, it's called wedded love. Love in togetherness of the Lord. Okay. Now, let's look at the difference. In Swakya, all the devotees in Dwarka, they exhibited that Swakya Bhava. Because they were wedded to the Lord, they were together with the Lord. In association with the Lord, they experienced that love. Now, when they experienced that love, the Lord returned back or reciprocated with 100% satisfaction. He brought them to the fullest of the bliss. Swakya Bhava. Okay? It's called wedded love. Love in association with the Lord. Okay? Now let's look at Parakya Bhava. Parakya Bhava is what? Love and separation of the Lord. So Lord demonstrates this Bhava with devotees who are not wedded, who are just like lovers. Because they may be together, they may not be together. Right? So this is demonstrated with the gopis of Vrindavan. So when the Lord was with the gopis of Vrindavan, he demonstrated Parakya Bhava. That's why you will see many pastimes of separation from the Lord. And finally, the Lord left the gopis of Vrindavan and moved away from Vrindavan. When he moved away from Vrindavan, whatever transcendental bliss these gopis experienced, they experienced much more transcendental bliss in separation of the Lord. The Shastra concludes Parakya Bhava is superior than Swakya Bhava. It could be so, but what Lord concludes is, the Lord concludes whether you're experiencing Swakya Bhava with me or Parakya Bhava with me, both will receive 100% full transcendental to the maximum is what Lord assures. So that's what you should know. Now, if you feel the Lord that I want to serve in this manner, you will get complete bliss in it. And that is what Lord concludes here. Is this giving clarity,
Yes,
Prabhu?
yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay. Now let's read the next sloka, 34. In this sloka, now you will see how Bhishma Dev is experiencing that chivalry. Okay, now we'll see that now. 9.34. Yudi Turagarajo Vidurma Vishwak Kacha Lulita Shramavary Alankritasya Mama Nishita Sharair Vibidhyamna Tvachi Vilasat Kwache Astu Krishna Atma. Translation. On the battlefield, where Sri Krishna attended Arjuna out of friendship, the flowing hair of Lord Krishna turned ash due to the dust raised with the hoofs of the horses. And because of his labor, beads of sweat were filled on his face. All these decorations, intensified by the wound dealt by my sharp arrows, were enjoyed by him. So let my mind thus go on to Sri Krishna. Now look at the Bhava experience by Bhishma Dev. Look at the explanation. He is first talking about the dress and the jewelry of the Lord. He's looking at that yellow, the Pitamba dress, which is so attracting him. The Lord is wearing. The jewels of the Lord is glittering and flashing on his eyes because of the presence of sunlight. So he is seeing even those were so beautiful once they came in association with the Lord. Okay? Now, he goes, is that because they are jewels, they're diamonds and all those things, that's why it's attractive? No. He says, even the dust. How the dust came? Because in the battlefield, the horses, the elephants, or what it may be, they run around and they produce the dust which will rise above. So the dust started to sit on the hair of the Lord, and that was also beautiful to Bhishma Dev. He was enjoying that. And because of the scorching sun and the activity of moving here and there and fighting, there is sweat all around the face of Krishna. The sweat was looking, each droplet was like pearls, and they were decorating the face of Krishna. So Bhishma Dev enjoyed this. Now we'll come to the aspect of transcendence now. A living entity has a material body. This gross body we have. The Atma is inside this body. Now what is this gross body is made of? Bhumi, Rapo, Nalo, Vayu. So it's made up of material elements, gross material elements. So blood is one of the material element. Okay, now let's look at Krishna's body. Krishna's body is fully transcendental. It's completely spiritual. Then one you may ask, then how did Krishna got blood when the arrow was shot? Prabhupada answers that Krishna simulates to make people feel natural, but his body is fully transcendental. Satchit Ananda Vigraha he is. So, for Krishna, whether you throw flower at him or whether you throw arrow at him, because his body is fully spiritual, there is no difference between him. It is not that he enjoys happiness and suffering because of these two actions. So whether flower or arrow is same to Krishna, but is it thrown with love? That is what is the key. If you throw a flower with love, Krishna accepts it. Even if it's a flower, but you throw with a lot of dejection and hatred towards Krishna, Krishna sees the pain in it. So that is the point here. So because Krishna's body is fully spiritual, both arrows and flowers, they felt the same. Now, Bhishma Dev is firing the arrow of love. The arrow that he wants to exchange the rasa of chivalry with Krishna, and hence it is described in this verse that the arrows penetrated the body of the Lord and blood oozing out, and Bhishma Dev and the Lord exchanged their virya rasa. Right? So, once there was a question to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, why should Jay and Vijay come and perform these three roles of three great demons and fight with the Lord? Okay? Because we always heard that Lord wants to enjoy singing and dancing with the gopis, So why is this? We can't understand. So Prabhupada explains that when Jai and Vijay were sent down, the agenda was very clear. Lord wants to experience the power of fighting. Okay, the power of thunderbolt. Now, Lord being so supreme and all powerful, it is very difficult for the Lord to fight with ordinary persons. So hence, Lord makes a plan to send Jai Vijay and empower with them with great powers that no human can think of. And then the Lord fights with them. The best example we can take is Varahadev. So what happened in Varahadev? Varahadev just manifested from the nostril of Brahma. Once he manifested like a small droplet, but he became so huge. He was so huge and so powerful. Even one hair on the body of Varahadev was so powerful. Even just the hair. Forget the Lord and other aspects. Okay. Now, Varahadev is fighting with Hiranyaksha. If you see the descriptions written in the Puranas, he did not fight for like half an hour or 1 hour. He fought for many days. Many days. So Lord enjoyed, that wrestling with that devotee. And then finally, when the Lord is fully satisfied with that, he said, okay, Hiranyaksha, what exchange of rasa you have to give, you've satisfied me. So he killed Hiranyaksha and completed the pastime. So in the same way, Bhishmadev is also demonstrating this beautiful exchange of rasa with the Lord.
Hare
Okay?
Krishna Prabhu, Jambavan also fought for a long time.
Yeah, Jambavan also fought. He fought for 40 days or something. Right? This is a Shamantaka Mani pastime. Jambavan is also considered to be a very strong personality. Right? And he never gives up, keeps fighting. Okay? So we should not conclude or misunderstand that, Bhishmadev was a demon, that's why he fired arrows at the Lord. And blood came out of it. He will go to hell. So those are all wrong understanding. Bhishmadev is a Mahajan, and then how did he experience that rasa with the Lord? That's what it is. Okay, are we clear on this understanding?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, let's go to the next sloka, 9.35. Sapadi sakivacho nishamnya madhye nija parayor balayoratam niveshya stitavati para shainikayo Pritavati Parthashake Ratir Mamastu. Translation. In obedience to the command of his friend, Lord Krishna entered the arena of battlefield of Kurukshetra between the soldiers of Arjuna and Duryodhana. And while there, he shortened the lifespans of opposite party by his merciful glance. This was simply by looking at the enemy, let my mind be fixed upon Krishna. Okay? So now Bhishma Dev is starting glory. The first glory he gave was just the beauty of the Lord in association with Arjuna. He glorified him. Second, he glorified his form. He glorified about his jewels, about his anga, about his dress, about the mud sitting on his hair. Like that, he glorified the Lord. The next, he glorified that the Lord is so merciful that he can exchange rasas at any point in time, even in battlefield, not just in Vamshivat. Even in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, Krishna is exchanging rasa. That is his merciful personality towards his living entities. That's what you have to understand. Right? There's no time, place, circumstances. Anywhere and everywhere, Lord is transcendent. This is a classical example. In the battlefield, Lord is able to teach Arjuna the greatest Manusha Dharma, Bhagavad Gita. What you're supposed to do. In the same battlefield, Lord is exchanging rasas with his devotees. You see? We always get confused. In battlefield, how can you demonstrate service attitude? You can't. But Bhishmadev is showing that. Right. Now, Bhishmadev is going to the next further one step. He is glorifying the Lord by saying, "Oh Lord, you're so merciful that you shorten the lifespan of all the soldiers who fought in that war, whether it is Duryodhana side or Pandava side. Okay, so how did he do? Whoever fought that war, it did not about qualify whether he was eligible or not, whether he practiced bhakti yoga or not. That was not the criteria. Who fought the war, they saw the Lord, they fought the war, they got killed. Because they saw the Lord, they fought the war and they got killed. Krishna gave them salvation. Salvation means mukti. They went back home, back to Godhead. And that is the meaning of shorten the lifespan of the opposite party by his merciful plan, just by seeing. So, it tells that extreme merciful nature of Krishna. So now Bhishma Dev is telling, oh, that same merciful Lord, please show that glance of mercy on me. So I want to fix my mind on you, on your anga, on your roop, on your form, and leave this body. People who didn't know you, they just fought the war. Just because they saw you on the war, they got salvation. But me, I'm offering all my obeisance prayers. Please show that considerate to me. So here, the Lord's causeless mercy is highlighted. The devotee, even though he's done so much, still he's begging for the Lord's mercy, so that I can meditate on you and I can leave the body. So this is very important to understand. At any point in time, just because we are practicing devotion service for many years, or we are in a higher position, we should be always very menial and seeking merciful nature from the Lord. That should be our position. Sometimes we see that certain personalities, because they have practiced for so many years, because they're senior, they may have the tendency to misuse their consciousness. So that is not good. That is a very important point to conclude here. Okay, so look at this. I want someone to read this highlight alone. Can someone read?
Yes, Prabhu. Factually, he was merciful to opposite party because they would not have attained salvation by dying at home in the ordinary course of life. He was a chance to see the Lord at the time of death and thus attain salvation from material life. Therefore, the Lord is all good, and whatever he does is for everyone's good. Apparently, it was for the victory of Arjuna, his intimate friend, but factually it was for the good of Arjuna's enemies. Such are the transcendental activities of the Lord, and whoever understands this also gets salvation after quitting this material body. The Lord does no wrong in any circumstances because he is absolute, all good at all times. Hare Krishna.
Hari Hari. Okay. So now, have you all understood about this particular pastime of the Lord?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Come on, look at the statement. Whoever has understood this will get liberation at the end of this life.
Say,
No, you're all
just
not
by
saying
listening
yes.
this.
Just by listening this. How many of you heard this properly and understood this properly?
Yes, Prabhu.
Absolutely right.
Are you attentive in the class or no?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah, so if you heard, you're going to get liberated. That's what the Bhagavatam sloka says. Okay? So whether you're on the opposite party and this party, just because one has seen the Lord at time of death, you'll go back home, back to Godhead.
This point we have to understand, Prabhu.
Which one, Prabhu?
Now you told whether which party it is.
Should I read once again, Prabhu?
Highlight.
Okay, Prabhu.
Okay? So our faith on the Lord should be immaculate, which should be non-deviated. Whatever we generally think that, oh, I'm very sinful, I'm not able to do this, I'm not able to do that. Don't worry about all those things. Have full faith in the Lord and just go on executing your duties. You will see at the time of you departing the body, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And that is the success of one's human life. Okay? Are we good here?
Yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
yes.
Prabhu, today whoever has listened to this class is blessed, Prabhu.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely.
And whoever has read also, including me. Okay, so let's do 9.36. So 9.36 is 9.36 and 37 are very brilliant. What it says is, whoever it may be, Krishna elevates one's position when they saw Krishna directly. That's what we're going to learn in all these slokas. Okay, and that point is what Vishnu Dev is glorifying. 9.36. Vyavahita pratana mukam nirikshaya swajana vadad vimukasya dosha buddhya kumatim arhadat atma vidayayas charanaratihi paramasya tasya mestu. Translation. When Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance by observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield, the Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge, Bhagavad Gita. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. So the point here Bhishma Dev is trying to address is, as living entities, we go through many, many difficulties in our life. Even today, we go through financial difficulties, health difficulties, Adi Atmika, Adi Bhautika, Adi Daivika. Problems due to various circumstances. But if one takes shelter of the Lord at every circumstances of life, the Lord delivers that knowledge to that person by which he can get liberated. He can come to him, back to home, back to God. Now, in case of Arjuna, what happened? Arjuna is a king, and then he wants to fight this battle so that, whatever nonsense was done to their families can be corrected. Whatever anyaya was done can be rectified. So that was the intention with which Arjuna came to this war. But when he came to the war field, what did he saw? Because Arjuna is a sattvic, a pure devotee, he immediately became compassionate. Why should I kill so many people to fulfill my desire of the kingdom? I don't want it. I don't want to kill these people and sit on the throne. So what Arjuna felt? I don't want to fight this war. He dropped his Gandiva. Body is sullen. And he has no more strength to even speak. His voice choked. What did Krishna do? Oh, now you're into a difficult situation, Arjuna. Because if he doesn't fight the war, Duryodhana will kill him. Or may put him into difficulty or jail him. If he fights the war, Arjuna is unhappy. So what did Krishna do? He delivered the transcendental knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. That way, he solved Arjuna's problem. So similarly, each one of us in our life, when we see difficulty, what we should do? We should increase our surrender to Krishna. Not that, oh Krishna, I did chanting for you, I offered flowers, you didn't take care of me, hence I am rejecting you. That is not the aspect of devotion. Devotion means, whenever we see difficulty, increase our surrender to God. Simple things. Now let's say you're going somewhere and suddenly you felt very lonely. No one around you, your car is alone, then you're a little bit scared. What do? You immediately start reciting the glories of the holy names. Then you will feel more, less fearful. So this is important. At even the smallest aspect, take shelter of the Lord. Biggest aspect, take more shelter of the Lord. And that's what Bhishma Dev is advising here. Okay.
Prabhu, in this one doubt I have, Prabhu, in the translation, when Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance, there are 2 points which I got, Prabhu. Is it because that he didn't want to fight because he would kill others, or because he's telling Krishna to bring him to the central point so that he can see both the sides of the army, which is okay, Prabhu, in this?
No, bringing both sides of the army is for him to observe, where do I stand, where do the opponents stand? Are we ready to fight the war? Okay. So that's an observance. But that observance has a hidden meaning also. Because when Krishna went in between, all the soldiers on both parties, they saw Krishna.
Okay, okay, okay.
So that is a merciful act for Krishna to be present so that he can give salvation to them.
Okay.
But the third aspect is when Arjuna came in between, he saw, then his compassion grew. That compassion got him into that polluted intelligence.
Okay, Prabhu. So totally 3 points are there to be noted in this particular thing, Prabhu.
Correct.
Yes, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. So read the purport. You will understand this point much more. Okay. Now let's read 37. Swanigamam apahaya mat pratijnam ritam adhikartum avapluto ratastaha tridarata charano abhyachalagdur harir ivahantum ibam gatotariyah. Translation. Fulfilling my vows and sacrificing his own promise, he got down from the chariot, took up his wheel, and ran towards me hurriedly, just as a lion goes to kill an elephant. He even dropped his outer garment on the way. Now look at these slokas, 36, 37. Is Krishna selfish? No. He is trying different methods. How can I take care of my devotees? He loves his devotees so much. Okay? Look at in the previous statement. Whoever soldiers, they saw Krishna and they died. Prabhupada writes, if at all they had died at home, they would have not got salvation, they will take rebirth. But they came to the battlefield, saw Krishna and died, they got liberation. See? Krishna is looking for every opportunity to liberate the living entities. Now look at this also. Now what was the promise? The promise is that Bhishma Dev wanted Krishna to lift the weapon in the war. Now, what was the vow of Krishna previously? You know the pastime, right? Krishna was sleeping, both Arjuna and Duryodhana came, asking for some help from Krishna. The entire army was given to Duryodhana, and Krishna came as a personality with Arjuna. Now, at that time, Krishna says, I'm not going to fight the war, so my army is available. So now Duryodhana is saying, anyway, he's not going to fight the war. So what's the use of having him? I'll take his army. But Arjuna says, hey, Lord by his glance, he created this entire universe. Lord by his glance, he can do anything. I want the blessings of the Lord. I want the association of the Lord. So Arjuna selected Krishna to be his guide and mentor. Right? So look at the consciousness now. Now, every point in time, you see, the Lord is favoring his devotees. He wants to help them. So now in this pastime, Lord has already told, I won't lift a weapon. But now Bhishma Dev is saying that I am going to ensure that you're going to lift the weapon. And that's my promise. So Lord considers the devotee's vow, the devotee's desire, more important than my desire. So Lord accepts defeat just to glorify the position of devotees. Okay, now let's look at some examples. You will see there are many situations that Brahmaji would give a vow, and no way that is correct. Brahmaji gave a vow because he was pressurized. But the Lord goes and fulfills it. Narada Muni, he gave a vow to these two boys of Kuvera. What vow he gave? Okay, just because now you are repenting for your mistake, you will be born as trees, and that Supreme Lord will come and liberate you. So now, whether Manigreva, Nalakuvara are eligible for liberation or not is not the criteria. For me to fulfill the word of my devotee is the criteria. So hence Lord enacts that pastime. So similarly, now Prabhupada says, in many lectures he says, just follow my principles. What are you supposed to do? You chant regularly, follow your regulated principles, follow Ekadasi, etc., etc. He says, I will take you back home, back to God. Now, whether we are eligible or not is not the point. But since Prabhupada has taken a vow, Krishna will fulfill it. And that is the hope that we are practicing our devotion. Are you clear on this point?
Yes, yes,
Yes,
Prabhu.
Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So, Lord fulfills the desire of his devotees. Now, even for each one of you, if your practice of devotion is exemplary, if your practice of devotion is unalloyed, the Lord will please you and whatever commitment you make also. That is the key. Right? Narada Muni gave a commitment for Valmiki. Lord fulfilled it to make him from a thug to a greatest devotee ever this world has seen. See, that is the glory of the Lord. That's what Bhishma Dev is now telling. That is the glory of this Lord, and I want to meditate on the Lord. So when Bhishma Dev wants to meditate on Krishna, he's just not saying, okay, Supreme Personality of Godhead, I meditate. No. At every pastime is recognizing and glorifying how the Lord acted, and then that Lord's lotus feet is what I want to surrender. That is how great devotees glorify and surrender to that Supreme. That's exactly what he's doing. Okay. Now let's look at sloka number 38. Sita Vishika Hato Vishirna Damshaha Sataja Paripluta Atatayino me Rashabam Abhisha Sharamad Badhartham Swabhavatu me Bhagavan Gatir Mukundaha. May he, Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who awards salvation, be my ultimate destination. On the battlefield, he charged me as if angry because of wounds dealt by my sharp arrows. His shield was scattered and his body was smeared with blood due to the wounds. So it is the same pastime that we discussed, that the scenario portrays that Krishna is very unhappy that but Bhishma Dev's arrows broke his armor, penetrated the body of Krishna and the blood oozed. So in order to teach that lesson, Krishna came. No, that's not the point. Krishna came to fulfill the promise of Bhishma Dev. And there are two things. One is promise of Bhishma Dev. Second, Bhishma Dev's vision. He enjoyed the Lord in a certain form. The dust on his hair, the jewels, the pitambar, the sweat on his face, and the blood oozing out of the body. He experienced wonderful ecstasy in seeing that form of the Lord, and hence the Lord came in that form to demonstrate that pastime to Bhishma. He's saying, oh, that Lord, I want to meditate on that Lord and complete my journey of life. So that's how these three slokas are very important for you to understand the consciousness of Bhishma Dev while leaving the body, the nature of prayers that he is offering. Okay? Are you all clear on this?
Yes,
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 Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So I have a request. Sloka number 44 to 49, right, is about just a theatrical set of events that Bhishma Dev is departing and then everyone will wind up and go. So I want you all to read today or tomorrow Sloka number 44 to 49, 5 slokas. Okay. In the next class, we'll complete 39 to 44 and we'll just do a quick summary of 44 to 49 and we will end chapter 9, pastimes of Bhishma Dev. Okay. So can we all do this?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay. So what sloka you have to read and come for the next class?
44 to 45.
9.44 to 9.49.
Of Canto 1,
Canto 1, Chapter 9.
Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay. So that way we will complete this one and we will go into the next chapter. Okay. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Okay, sorry. Any questions?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I have one question, Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, regarding this rasas, Prabhu,
Hmm.
when we are involved in devotional service, does that particular rasa happen automatically or we should cultivate deliberately, Prabhu?
It will happen automatically. You don't deliberate it in a particular manner.
So now
As your devotion keeps fructifying, as your devotion keeps blooming, blossoming. Now, how it is, I'll tell you, Mataji. Have you seen a flower that is blossoming on a tree? So
Yes.
let's look at the stages. The first stage is the stage of a bud. Okay, the bud grows and becomes bigger. After the bud becomes bigger, it becomes a flower, but in a closed state. Okay.
Yes.
Now, after that, on the day, either in the early morning or in the night, that flower blooms. When it blooms, it shows all the colors, radiance, and fragrance, and everything. Correct? So, similarly, in the initial two stages, we do not know what will be the nature of our bhakti that will manifest. What will be the radiance? What will be the glare? What will be the fragrance? What will be the color? We don't know. So, similarly, we have to just go on practicing our bhakti according to the stipulated rules of Vaidika Bhakti. Now, when Vaidika Bhakti matures, it automatically transforms into Raganuga Bhakti. When it transforms into Raganuga Bhakti, that is when a flower blooms with radiance, color, smell, and everything, you will see Lord in a particular relationship. And that will manifest automatically.
Can we have 2-3 rasas at the same time, Prabhu?
You may, for example, let's look at Arjuna. Arjuna demonstrated Sakya Bhava, but he also demonstrated Dasya Bhava.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now, if you take Uddhava, let's take Yudhishthira. Yudhishthira demonstrated Sakya Bhava, but he also demonstrated Vatsalya Bhava, because in several times he acted as if the elderly person guiding and helping and sheltering Krishna. So demonstrate both. Right?
Yes.
So there are many incidents where a devotee can demonstrate or exchange rasas in one or more.
Yes.
Yeah. Any other question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, whatever you told is the swarupa of the Atma Prabhu. This is what we discussed.
No, that's not Swarupa of Atma. This is an exchange of relationship between Lord and the devotee. Swarupa of the Atma is something else. Swarupa of the Atma, when you say, that talks about his chit potency, his pleasure potency, and then the nature of that soul. So it talks about that. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about relationship between that Atma and the Lord.
Okay. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhu.
Really, earlier in the earlier class, you mentioned that the remaining shlokas would be very easy and we'll just pass through. But today's class was really nice because it really gives Bhishma Dev's perception and his position really nice. So just one question I had, like this relationship of Bhishma Dev with Krishna as Shivalri. Was it pre-decided? I was just relating it with Jay and Vijay's relation. That was one question I had, and uh, like, was it pre-decided in that sense? And the second question, what I had, just observation was that the different avatars that Krishna has, the way to be involved in the rasas was becomes more sublime. In the sense, initially as Varahadev, as Narsimhadev, he was really hands-on. He fought directly, and even with Rama, he came with an army. Like, it became a little sublime to that sense. And later on with Krishna, he was completely aloof, like not hands-on as such, but with words, intellect and guidance he was involved. So that was just an observation. So the question and an observation. Thank you.
Can you repeat your question?
Oh, the question was like Bhishma Dev, like as I understand, there was
Predestined, pre-planned, something like that.
yeah, pre-planned, because Bhishma Dev right from start already knew what he was supposed to do. He was never in doubt. He knew that he was fighting against Krishna, the ultimate, the supreme personality of Godhead, and he was never in doubt. He was fighting. He was causing the blood to ooze, and like as is mentioned in these shlokas, so really amazing. Like he was really very well situated in his position. Like we do see that Arjuna is wavering in spite of being so close, but as we know, like I don't know, but Bhishma Deva was never directly in contact with Krishna. Like he never got like the one-to-one audience with Krishna, but still he was so elevated that he already knew his position, and it was of a chivalry.
Okay, so generally what happens is it is all manifest from the desire to serve the Lord. Okay, so now let's say you go to the temple without any plan. Okay, there's a festival today or something, or you went to the temple. You saw an opportunity that hey, maybe I can do some small item to cook and offer to the Lord. Today is a festival, which you just got the idea after entering the temple. Okay, or let's not go even there. Simple. You suddenly saw the floor of the temple was unclean. What do? You took a mop and say clean, because Prabhupada told that every day Marjanado has to happen. Cleaning has to happen. So you did the cleaning. So you see, many of these service attitude will just manifest, at that point in time. It is not that it is pre-planned. You don't plan and say, I'll go do like. Of course, that is also happen. But many of the services, it just manifests as a desire at that point. And hence you want to serve the Lord. Now, Bhishma Dev serves the Lord in mode of chivalry. But the sequence of events, how, what, is something that manifests at that point in time. It is not pre-planned. So that's why you see every rasa is new, fresh, and interesting, and something that you want to hear again and again.
Haribol Prabhuji, thank you. So in that sense, we have to be really conscious about our relationship every single moment, because the
No, you should serve
circumstances
the
will all
Lord, the
change.
relationship will manifest.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Whatever is prominent in your service, the Lord sitting as Paramatma will understand your desire, and accordingly he will manifest that rasa with you, and you will understand, oh, this is what it is.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. That what is then Swarupa Siddhi, Prabhu? Come across that.
See, the Swarupa Siddhi, how it manifests is, if, for example, there is a devotee in the Vaikuntha planets. Okay, he is serving the Lord in a particular bhava, in a particular form, in a particular way. Now, for some reason, he, entered the material world and is performing his activities. So, what the Shastra tells us that by continuous performance of his devotion service, his original relationship with the Lord will manifest. And you'll understand, oh, I'm so and so, I'm continuing to serve. That is Swarupa Siddhi. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about one will manifest a desire to serve the Lord, and given time, place, circumstances, one can serve in any way they want. And that is a momentous desire. It is completely engaged between the Lord and the devotee. Everything is not Swarupa Siddhi. That's my point here.
Thank you, Prabhu.
You saw a flower. Everyone may think that I'll make garland, I'll make this. But you said, no, none of them. I'll just take this flower and keep it on the head of Krishna because it looks beautiful. See, it is completely deviated from standard way of doing that service, but it's still accepted as a glorious service. That's the point.
Spontaneous. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very, very beautiful, Prabhu. You said, out of so many flowers, one flower I'll take it and keep it on the Lord's head. It's so beautiful, Prabhu, to understand it also.
Still service. Because we keep getting confused about standard. Oh, everyone has to make garland, everyone must do this. This is the only. No, that is not the way. Anything to serve the Lord, to please the Lord, is considered a service, and service is unlimited in its ideas, in its quantity, and its variety. That's what you have to understand.
Very nice, Prabhu. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, can you post the recording of the last week class? I couldn't attend.
Pawan Prabhu,
It's
do we
already
have a
posted,
speaker?
Prabhu. It's already posted, Prabhu.
It's done, Prabhu.
No, I'm putting Prabhu. I'll put.
So maybe for the benefit of that Mataji, you can post it, Prabhu.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you.
I'll put last week's and this week's together.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Have a wonderful day. Grandharaj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gurudev ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari
Hari Hari Bol.
Vakshakalpatarubyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai. Vaishnava Thakur Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Om Tat Sat. Thank you. And please remember, from next week onwards, we will start class 5 minutes early, 5:55, because we want to complete all our prayers before 6, and immediately 6 to 7, we want to have the full class. Okay.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam, Krishna
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavata Pranam Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhu.
Dandavat Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Dandavat
Dandavat
Pranam.
Krishna Dandavat.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare
Dandavat
Krishna,
Pranam. Thank you so much, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Dandavat.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam.